The views and opinions expressed on this show by its guests are not necessarily those of Lounge Media Group or the show host. So if you sue someone, make sure it's the party responsible for hurting your feelings. Also, grow up, be an adult, and understand not everyone thinks like you. And that's okay.
Well, hello, everyone. Howdy doody, Mr. Hound.
What's up, brother?
What is up with you, man? I'm oh sorry, you asked me a question. Ah, fucking bing. Bro. Telling you, dude. I'm good, man. I'm good. It was a slow day, man. I mean, it's been a slow week. I think for everyone, it's kind of maybe. I mean, maybe everyone starts saying, but I don't know. A lot of my customers push their stuff just like completely off until the end of the week and even into next week. So because it's most of my stuff is either coming from the south or it's going to the south. So yeah, things still up in the air. So it was kind of a slow day, but got some prospect done. That was good. And I mean, that's really it, dude. That's really all I've done. Nothing spectacular. Week has been good. Finally thawing out. I think what are we right now? We're 55 degrees. So we have finally stayed above freezing. And so I think, dude, our city's been closed. School's been closed all week. So I think shit is finally going to get back to normal around here starting tomorrow. But other than that, man, I say other than that, none of that's bad, but I'm good, bro. I'm good. Things are fantastic. What about you, man?
Yeah, it's been a week. Definitely excited to be out of the cold. I'm just shooting down here in Alabama. It's like in the 40s. I walk outside. I was like, wow, it is an absolute warm day outside. But yeah, work's been. It's been here and there. California's still moving. Haven't really heard much from my folks in the southeast. I mean, that's to be expected. And that storm's just moving right up the northeast, so that's going to cut off a little bit as well. But you know what people need when freight gets backed up is more trucks. So, it'd be a great time to get on board with some freight, and hopefully those trucks that we're parking at some of the fine locations by Freight Ninja Truck Parking across the United States are nice, safe, and warm now and ready to get back on the road. So, yeah, had a little mishap with the old Casa yesterday. I won't go into details, but make sure that you shut your water off or check your pipes when it gets really cold outside, or else you'll have to call Serve Pro. We don't like those guys.
Oh man, that's yeah, I can't believe that, bro. I'm not going to dig into it if you're not, but
dude,
that's
you want to talk about
that's absolutely fucking crazy, bro. I mean, I've seen that before. I've seen what worse, but that's fucking nuts, though. Regardless, that's nobody.
Yeah, well, dude,
nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody.
Yeah, and the only thing that saved like my office and my bedroom is that I have carpet in there, so like the front of the carpet just like soaked up all the water. It's still like damp under there, but like yeah, nothing really got too messed up. But they're gonna have to come in there like obviously dry it out, and then I'm guaranteed they're gonna have to replace a lot of those floors and carpet and the ceiling, and then water's dripping through our cabinets. So but pretty much, I mean, yeah. So Freyhound's gonna be couch surfing for a few months, I feel. But
that's just crazy, bro. That's
at least I got a busy few months coming up, so it's not like I'm
well, it doesn't matter, man. Like you're still
it's bullshit,
displaced from your house, bro. I mean, like that shit.
Yeah, and gonna have to like move everything again.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, like I was telling you though, dude, man, I mean, you may be able to get out of your lease with this. I mean, there might be something in like the clauses that states force property companies or real estate companies put in there. And
yeah,
shit, I don't know. I mean, that's up to you. I'm just saying, possibly, because I mean, you are, dude. Who knows how long it could take to fix that stuff, man. I mean, it was more than just what you're alluding to here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot more. So it's probably going to take some fucking time to deal with that.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, man, things are great. Excited for this show. And yeah. What's
Me
in the
too.
news today?
We'll get to that in a minute. Before I do though, give some love out to some of the folks that helped make the show possible. Friends over at Freight Ninja taking care of truck parking and outdoor industrial storage. Y'all can hit them up, freightninja.com. And our friends over there at Shoreline, they take care of all your factoring and funding needs. You can reach them, shorelinecapital.com. So, news. We got, man, you know, funny enough, talking about truck parking. That's what's in the news.
Lounge Media News, brought to you by AR Doc Pro and sourced from truckingnewshub.com.
I know truck parkers talked about a lot, but I really don't think you can highlight the good parts of it enough. Most people just talk about how there's not enough of it and the paid parking stuff and all this. So here's a real good positive story out of Pennsylvania. PennDOT announced more than 300 dedicating truck parking spaces have opened at 24 locations across the state since last fall. They announced on Wednesday that 339 dedicated truck parking spaces have been created across some 24 locations in the state as part of the initiative that was announced in October of 2025, with a total of 1,200 by the end of 2026. So this is 339 that goes towards that. All the new truck parking spaces are marked with truck parking signage that is installed by PennDOT. So you don't have to, fear risk of getting towed, especially I have to tell you where some of these are at, which I got to give it to Pennsylvania for being creative with this. So the added new truck parking spaces are at interstate off-ramps, other PennDOT-owned sites, and way stations. Some of those are on the I-99 off-ramps in Bellwood and Blair County, I-79 north and southbound way stations in Butler County, Route 100 way station, 4 different ramps on I-79, some on I-81, a location on I-70, I-380, Route 315 in Luzerne County, Route 9404, it says / Penn Highway Park and Ride in Northampton County, off Route 6. I'm sure that means something to people up there. Also north and southbound way stations on I-81 in Schuylkill County, a couple locations on US 11, I-79 southbound way station in Washington County, and the I-83 northbound and southbound way stations in York County. You can locate the new truck parking spaces using the new public truck parking option on 511pa.com, or you can get the 511PA app on your phone, it says. Finally, as a commercial driver license holder, I know how critical safe parking options are for the people who keep goods moving to and through Pennsylvania. The Shapiro administration is wasting no time in making good on its commitment to give more truck parking options to help drivers meet their federal rest requirements. And that was from PennDOT Secretary Mike Carroll. He also closed out with, "This is just a common sense approach to enhanced safety, and our department is always looking at ways to add more spaces for trucks." So there we are with that, man. Yeah. I like it. I mean, I'm pretty sure we probably reported on this, Hunter, about this initiative. We report on a lot of truck parking stuff. And so it's good to see these states, actually following through. What was the other one? I think it was Indiana. They added a whole bunch that we reported on. Somewhere like that. They had a couple of hundred too, not too long ago. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a good sign that we don't remember either, because a lot of times they get this money and 339 spots. That's great. I think one of the last ones though, they got a couple $1 billion, and it was only going to be 40 spots or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe
it was
that's maybe that's a wild exaggeration, but yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot of money though. You're right. I remember us doing the math.
We're how in the hell does this make sense?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was over $1 million a spot is what it was going to end up costing. It was fucking astronomical.
But that doesnment make any sense, because shit, you don't know they own the property, and then I guess it's just government contracting, so they're just going to pay whatever they want to pay for it. But
very true. Well, I like this, man. They pretty much just are making use of space that they already have.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about way stations, man. Is you can pretty much park at them anytime. The thing is that a lot of states, they'll close their way stations, like they'll put the arms down and stuff. So the only thing you can do is get on the bypass ramp. You like actually can't get in there and really get to the parking. So, good stuff here. And what I was going to say, we were talking about the funding thing. I don't know if you saw that news story about a bill that just got passed, or maybe it was just submitted. I can't remember, but it had like $200 million in truck parking, like earmarked in it. And they specifically wrote out, God, now I forget. It can't be used by like certain people that are known to be predatory on truck drivers. It's got like several different things in there that is keeping it out of the hands of people who could commit fraud with it. So that's good. They're even seeing that, man. Hey, if we're gonna give this money to people, like it needs to go into the right hands and make sure it's actually going towards what it's meant for.
Absolutely.
So that's all I got for that, man.
Well, good deal. Well, you ready to get to our guests?
I very much am not. I mean, very much am. Very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lefty, also known as Charles Bunde.
Lefty's the man to call, snapping trucks big and tall, highway king with a camera in hand. Lefty's the man, yeah.
Howdy.
There you go.
The first and only guest. Well, I don't know. Besides Tony, because I think we played one of Tony's songs on his intro video. But so other than Tony Justice, the only guest that has wrote their own intro song.
Hey, got to do what you got to do, right?
Oh,
that's
man.
right.
You love telling that damn stuff.
Oh, I do. I love it. It does a lot for a lot of people, if you're doing it for certain friends and things, it makes it fun. Because you can actually put that personal touch and everything into it.
That's right.
I hope that's
How you
coffee.
been since do what?
Said I was telling Pedro, I hope that was coffee.
Oh yeah, no, it's coffee tonight, man.
It's that Road Dog coffee.
No, man, I need to get me some more Road Dog coffee, dude, to be honest. I'll buy it, and then I just forget to fucking order more, and then I just keep forgetting to order more. So, yeah, it's a bad habit. I need to just do that subscription thing is what I need to do.
Heck yeah. Save some money, don't you?
Yeah.
But, well, Lefty, how you been since we saw you on Friday, brother?
The cold.
Yeah.
That's what's new. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little chilly. We got down to like -6 the other night, and I was like, yeah, just a little chilly, a little more than I wanted. But for the first couple of days there, they sat there and kept saying, "Oh, it's hitting on Friday, Saturday, all the way up until Sunday." It was almost 40 degrees outside, so it was like comfortable. But then Sunday night it hit, and then it decided to bring in all the nasty weather with it, cold. Got a little bit of snow. I still have maybe an inch sitting on the ground still, but it's finally clearing up.
Oh, man, I totally forgot to show that to you, dude. Sorry.
What's that?
I'm talking to Hunter.
Oh, see, look, he's already forgetting to tell you things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
That's true.
Well, glad you stayed out of the weather, brother. So I guess we'll go ahead and get the show rolling with the question we ask everybody. But go on and tell us who is Lefty and how'd you get where you are today with Left Lane with Lefty?
All right. Well, most people know me in the trucking industry as Lefty and known me as Left Lane with Lefty. My real name is Charles Bunde. E is long.
Okay. I don't know. I don't want to put
German.
It's German category.
It's got the E that's long.
Are you related to Ted?
Nope. With a Y. See, check the spelling. No, we dealt with that over the years of growing up and the kid, but being, uh, you know, being part of that, living in Florida, that all tied together. Yeah, that was.
He's like, for a time there, we went by Bunde.
Yeah, that's right. Back then, I went by a whole different name. It was, yeah. But the way Left Lane with Lefty got started, and everybody how it got started, it was done and created on April 1st. So it was more of a like an April Fool's type of thing of how to start it, and wasn't expecting it to take off. It was just a joke, and here we are 5 years later, and it's yeah, massive. Never would have thought it'd been like that. Never would have thought it would have took off the way it did. Within the first year, I mean, my God, I had more people calling me and saying, "Let's do another show, do another show." It was just, but it was inspired to me by someone else that to do something on the towing side because we'll get into that here in a minute. But so that's how that ended up getting created. Um, as everybody knows, I drove truck. I actually figured it out. I drove it for 28 years, but I just I started when I was probably 8 when I learned how to drive a truck. My aunt worked for a trucking company, and on Fridays I got to go with her. And the owner used to take me on Fridays and say, "Hey, you're not going to school. You're going to come with me. We'll learn some construction, get you a skill." So on Fridays, used to love to go and take off with him, go learn different parts of the trade, different equipment. And one day he threw me in a dump truck and said, "If you can figure out how to drive it, I'll teach you how to run it." Don't tell an 8-year-old that loves trucks, "Hey, you're going to give me a truck with a 10-speed in it, and you're going to tell me how to, if I can make it move, you're going to teach me how to drive it." Yeah. So I've been driving trucks since I was 8 years old. So I've been driving for quite a lot longer, but legally from '97 till now. So, but yeah, there's been quite a few years. But I learned how to drive um, when I was 8, playing around with dump trucks. Then I learned how to operate loaders and learned how to operate excavators. My grandfather was a trucker back in the military, so he brought that out into when he got out of the military. And then my dad was a trucker and a company owner. Um, so, the trucking is in my blood. It's been in my blood since I was born. So the only other thing I could think of growing up was I'm going to play baseball or I'm going to be a trucker. And so during those years, everything was doing good. I got onto the baseball league, was at 14 playing baseball. Second year in, become a pitcher, was enjoying it, loving it. Um, one night in May, I was coming home from baseball practice, and I ended up getting hit by a car from behind. That's how I ended up being empty. Wasn't right then and there, but 7 months later, they ended up having to take the arm because there was no muscle movement. I mean, it messed up the arm pretty good. Um, so I ended up being handicapped, and my surgeon, when they did the operation, asked me, "What do you want to do in your life? Because when we take this arm, you're going to be limited." I looked at him and I said, "I don't care. I still want to be able to drive a truck. I want to still be able to drive a truck." And that was at 14. And so they ended up figuring out what needed to be done. So we ended up getting the surgery done. Um, so when I turned 18, uh, I ended up getting my CDLs, and a lot of people were like, "How did you get them? You had to have a medical waiver." Well, that's where the surgery come in. The doctor actually went through and read the DOT laws on the medical part that anything that was an inch above the elbow had to have a medical waiver. Anything below the elbow did not. So what he did was legally legit. How he did it medically, he actually left the bottom part of the elbow joint, so it wasn't in that spec. So I didn't have to have a medical waiver to get my CDLs,
Hmm.
which was pretty slick of the doctor, and it was pretty slick. I was able to drive all these years up until the rule change. Well, part of it was rule change, uh, but part of it was because of the cancer that pulled me out of a truck. So, but I had fun, man. I've done some crazy stuff in the truck, crazy stuff. Oh, I got stories that we could tell, but there's some of them I can't tell on here. 'Cause, you know, never know. Just say.
Well, what what all kind of trucking did you do, Lefty?
Well, when I got my CDLs, I ran local. I started out running dump trucks. I went to work for the guy that taught me. Went to work for him for a little bit. Um, then I switched over to another company. We were doing long haul in the state because I couldn't leave state until I was 21, but I could drive in state because Florida does an in-state program where you could drive in state at the age of 18. So I spent my next 2.5 years driving in state, running and getting used to being running long distance and running from Miami uh, and back up. And then when it come to wintertime, um, construction slowed down, so I got into towing. Towing is 24/7, don't matter cold, wet, rainy, whatever. Then I got into it and liking it a lot better. And then with the help of the towing company, they actually got me into the schooling where I went and got my A and had it for a while. Um, I think it was in, let's see, 99 or 2000. Then I went to Covenant Transport, worked over there for a little over a year and a half. I think it was a little over a year and a half, 2 years, close to 2 years. Was sitting there um, running over the road. Wanted to see what that was all about. Um, so that was actually pretty cool on that part. I got to see different parts of the state, different parts of the country, Nebraska, Colorado. Just to let you know, don't matter if it's July and we're down here burning up. It could be 28 degrees in the morning in Colorado. Just saying. Yeah, especially in Denver. Um, I was up there delivering carpet and ended up having to sit there all weekend, and that was a little chilly. Wasn't expecting that, man. I had Florida weather clothes, man. It was tank top, shorts. You know, I was enjoying myself until I got out the door and I said, "Oh my God, I'm in the snow or something." Yeah, it was freezing. But yeah, I did that for a little bit, and then I went back to running local back in Florida. Um, I noticed the pay, and that wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, running over the road, it was decent, but I had my opportunity that I could make more money working for family and friends back in Florida running than I did, running over the road. But I mean, I've had my future. I ran over the road back and forth, you know, back and forth, a little bit here for a couple of years and then back over there, running over the road for a couple of years.
All right. On. So I guess, so you say you started driving when in 96
96.
legally?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the end of 96, early 97, yeah.
Damn,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what are some of the changes you've seen, man? The biggest ones, from just your time driving. I mean, I guess even all right. So when you were a kid, were you just like, did you do like the farm thing where it was like agricultural and you were like allowed to drive at like 13 or whatever? Just kind of.
Well, yeah, that was the man that my aunt used to work for. He owned a material pit, which was he would do not only but clay, dirt, and rock, but he also did a pug mix, what they call pug mix plant, which is clay and concrete powder mix. So it was more like a road based type of material. And so when I was doing that when I was younger, I got to do that on the weekends. So when my aunt worked on Friday, I went with the owner. We went and rode around different jobs. Then on Saturday, I would go into work with her, and then I would sit there and run a dump truck, bringing dirt down to the pug mix plant. So we would haul from one end of the yard. I think he had like 50 acres or so. So I would run from one end of the property to the other, driving a dump truck, and that learning how to shift and being able to be safe, passing trucks on a narrow lane dirt road. Because a lot of times you're in a pit, so you got almost like a levee going in between, and you got just enough room to drive in between you and another truck, and hopefully you don't hit mirrors because one of the two things you're going to go in the ditch or you're going to smack mirrors. So you really had to pay attention on how close you could be to pass someone out there, or you had to wait until someone come off the levee and then went across and then back over. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was fun for me because it was a whole new world. I mean, hey, I get to play with this big truck. This thing growls. I get gears. It goes fast. Play with a bed that raises. For an 8-year-old, it's really, really something that I would say. I think every kid, every dad that has a truck, don't matter if it's a dump truck, semi, water truck, whatever. I think you ought to let your kid have a chance, try to drive it. Let them get the perspective of the roads. I mean, it opens. I think it would make them a lot safer and give them a lot more experience to be ready for driving when it's time for them to drive.
I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm sorry, Lefty. Susan, you're right. There is nothing good going on here. We keep the expectations low. So the results that we deliver are always high. How about
Uh,
that?
hmm.
Oh man. Lefty, before I get back
I wish I
to
could say she didn't have a hand in it.
my God,
Just
dude.
saying. Hey, come
Every
on.
time, I don't know why, but now every time I think about you, the first thing I think about is fucking Van and his whole give Lefty. That dude has,
Yeah,
he is
give
so
like
mean. Van's the type of guy that's mean to kids.
no, no.
I
He's
know.
mean to big kids. He's not
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
to little ones,
No,
but he's big.
Van's an awesome guy. Comes from a good place, man.
Yeah, so
For
good.
I want to kind of bounce back on something that
Go ahead.
Hunter was getting into. But first, I have you were talking about getting caught in the cold in Colorado. So I had that happen to me one time myself on the road. I had came off the road, went local for almost 2 years, and then I wanted to go back to school, but where I worked wouldn't work with my school schedule, so I went back OTR, and I was on a dedicated trip that took me up to New York. I think it was like, I don't know, September, October, something like that. Down here in Texas, dude, the mornings in September, October, it's still 80 degrees in the morning. And I got out
Yes.
of my truck and it was like 40 degrees, dude. And this is how long ago this was, bros. There was I was delivering to a Dollar Tree, I think, but there was a Kmart right there in in the same shopping center. And I went to Kmart in northern New York and found a Cowboys hoodie. I think my son still has that fucking hoodie.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I feel what you're saying, dude. It just goes so like, you're used to one thing, man. Like, and you get out there, you get better. I was never not prepared again on the road, man. I
Oh yeah.
always fucking had clothes for every season, even in the winter, because it could be 40 degrees up in Jersey, and then you may be down in the South for a week where it's still like 75. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So
and I will say on that note, I was sat there and I went to Denver and like I said, I delivered a load of carpet, sat there and dropped it off. Went over to Nebraska and headed over to Missouri. I had to pick up a load from there from Kellogg, and then we had to take it to Texas. So I ended up going down to Texas, and they said, "Oh, we're going to do a rodeo." I'm thinking, "All right, cool, we're going to a rodeo, like, actually cowboy." No, that's where the trucking training come in. It got explained because I thought it was something different. But during that time, because me and another driver that we went to, he'd come out of the same training. When we got there, my AC quit in the middle of July. This is like July 28, 29, somewhere in there. I mean, I had to sit there for 3 days with no AC. They couldn't get me into the shop to get me fixed because where I was at was like a sub terminal. And in order for me to get in, they couldn't schedule me until that following Monday. You talk about going from one drastic from being ice cold to going down there and dealing with the Texas heat, because Texas heat is nothing like Florida. We have moisture in the air. You get down to Texas, it's like getting blasted with a heater in the middle of July on top of the heat. No, not fun.
I've
Yeah.
only had my AC go out one time, and I was with PFG. So, I mean, it was in the middle of summer too, so it really sucked. But we dealt with it that day, and it just went back to carbon. That's the only time it ever happened to me, bro. God,
Would
there's
have been
nothing,
bad if I was able to move,
nothing
but we
like
weren't
yeah,
moving. We were
yeah. I
stuck
feel you.
there at that little terminal, and I was like, "Crap, this really sucks."
I know that's right, dude.
It
Nothing like
really.
being without AC or heat for that freaking matter, dude. Like climate control, period. There's nothing like in a truck
Yeah.
being without climate control, period. All right, Lefty. So, something Hunter was kind of getting on. I want to kind of come back to. We
Good.
like talking to the drivers that have been around for a while about. The industry past and present. You know what I'm saying? When you got in it, log books, e-logs weren't even probably
Oh,
on
no.
people's minds. You know what I'm saying? We were still running logbooks. Def wasn't around. Blah 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 blah. So, what are some things that are going on right now, Lefty? That are strangely different from when you first started in the industry that you think have led us down the wrong road, or maybe some gripes. I guess maybe you could put it another way, something like that.
Well, yeah. When I started, there was nothing, which I think is a little safer than what. So when I started, we had no e-logs, but you kind of had an e-log type of deal because you had the Qualcomm. All right, so
I do
you
remember
received
those.
your messages. You had the old square, like plug-in notebook that sat there, and you had to deal with the Qualcomm. So you ended up getting your information through it, but it was a simpler system, but did not like it because no matter what you had to do, you had to answer it in a certain amount of time. If not, then it kept pinging. And then you'd have to, well, in my case, I would have to pull over because ain't no way I'm sitting there trying to hold this mailbox sitting on this steering wheel trying to punch in all the info that I needed to type into that Qualcomm. Um, but yeah, we ran logbooks, which is a lot easier, simpler to deal with. But I could say the um, the e-log now is a lot easier to use than the Qualcomm. I think in that aspect, it's easier to communicate back and forth. But I still think that you shouldn't be micromanaged as much as they do on that system than they did the old system. Um, that and the other thing is all these in-facing cameras. That's another thing I didn't have to deal with. Um, I wouldn't drive for a company that had a camera that sat there and watched me 24/7, no matter if I was in my bunk or out of my bunk. It just didn't make me feel right. I didn't feel comfortable with it. Um, I think they ought to, if you're going to have cameras on it, all right, great. You want to put them on the outside of the truck, facing forward, backwards, on the windshield, facing out like a dash cam. but I don't think you need to see what I'm doing in the back bunk. I mean, if I'm driving the truck, it's one thing. If you got it sitting, uh, maybe even on the passenger side, facing the driver's seat, all right, I can understand that. You know, you're at least you're seeing that I'm sitting there driving, but I don't think it needs to be facing inward, looking into the bunk and being on it anytime they could turn it on and off and not knowing. I don't think that should be one of the things. Um, things moved a lot easier with your clocks back then than they do now. I've had a lot of drivers sit there and tell me, "Oh no, it's a lot easier with the e-logs because we can do our time limits. We know exactly what we got." Uh, I don't know. I mean, when you're got a logbook, you can sit there and, hey, if I'm stuck in traffic, I can put myself in PC, pull over the shoulder, time myself out until the traffic gets better and moves on, and then I can go back on duty and roll with it. Where now you can't do that. You can't. You're stuck there, and then if your clock runs out, you have to hit the shoulder, put out your triangles. I mean, then you're screwed. You got to wait there for 10 hours, or you have to have a DOT officer to come up and sign your book or sign off on the e-log that you can move it to a safe haven, which is, I didn't play much with the e-logs, but it just it makes more. It don't make as much sense as just going back to regular. Put it to the common sense, no nonsense BS with putting it back with the regular doing logbooks, doing the regular paper logbooks. I think it makes it a lot safer on the driver. You know, there's drivers out here that work better running night than they do day. Um, you got some of them that likes to start in the afternoon and run until the middle of the morning. Then you got some of them that likes to work early in the morning till in the afternoon, so they don't want to have to deal with the night traffic and all that. And when you're dealing with an e-log, you don't have that privilege of sitting there saying, "Oh, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to take my time." You don't get it, and I just it got a lot more frustrating when they started pulling that in. Then they sat there and started talking of the different things that they were doing, and yeah, it wasn't for me, and it was that's why I tried to stay with a company that was running paper logs, or I run into an area that I only had to drive within 150 miles as the crow flies, and then I didn't have to run with a logbook. I could still run and do what I needed to do, and I didn't have to deal with all the other BS. So I think in my part, I was kind of smarter in myself, but for me, it was smarter for me to do it that way. I didn't have to deal with as nowhere near with the new e-logs and that. The last new truck that I got to drive was a 2016, 2017 Granite Mac, and then inside the Mac they started putting in the integrated board system. They were testing the Mac e-logs in the book in that system, and yeah, and it was kind of freaky. I had an engine light come on the truck. Next thing you know, I hear a voice talking over, and I'm like, it scared the crap out of me. Wasn't even expecting. I mean, the truck may have been, I think, like 2 weeks old, and I had an engine light come on. It was something to do with regen, and it kicked on, and I heard this voice coming. Everything will be okay. We're looking at it right now, and I'm like, where's that? I'm thinking someone called my phone. Did I hit the button? No, it was Matt. It was their actual software department. They were actually diagnosing the truck while I was driving it, finding out what was going on with it. And I was like, I mean, it totally freaked me out. I'm like, nope, I don't want a new truck. Don't want this. I don't need someone sitting there calling me and scaring the hell out of me like that. Can you imagine driving down the road at 3 in the morning? Next thing you got a light comes on and you hear a voice. Hey, we got this, sir. Don't worry about it. We were taking care of it right now. Thank you for your patience. Talk about scaring the driver white and white knuckled. Yeah. Hold on, I ain't getting in that truck. That truck's possessed. Sorry, get out of it. Nope. I drove that truck. That was the one and only time. I mean, I drove it for about 2 weeks, but when they did that, I said, no, you can have it. I'll go back to the old school over here that ain't got no no desk system on it. Ain't got no computer on. No, give me back the old KW. We'll drive it. You can keep this new map. Yeah.
I'll add this about the ELD. I did logbook and ELD. I prefer the logbook, but let's be honest. The reason drivers prefer the logbook is because it's easier to lie. Like it really is. It gives you more control over how you run your clock. Like me, I mean, I ran my logbook the same way every day. I woke up, started my logbook, started it all legal, and then I just drove and did stuff until I was tired of driving and doing stuff. And however many miles were on my dash, I just like divided it by 65 or whatever, and that's what my logbook was. Like if it was 8 hours, it was 8 hours. If it was 9, it was 9. You know, like that's just what I did. But you know, I could, and in that I could stop and take a nap for 3 fucking hours. So if I truly had an 18-hour day, it was what it was. But I can make it look like an 8-hour day, you know, if I knew what I was doing. But I think that, and I want to say it was Dean Croak who brought this up. And Hunter, you can
the sleep schedule.
No, not the sleep thing. This also may have been him too. But just leaving the ELDs, but making the hours of service like fluid,
flexible.
Allowing the driver to, you know, start and stop their clock when they want. The only mandatory, like, when they do take a time off, they have to do, I think it was the person said, like, at least 1 5-hour stint. You know, like you can't just take a whole bunch of hours and make it equal 10 hours throughout a 24-hour period. But like, let them do their clock however they want. As long as in that 24 hours, they took 10 hours off.
That was Dean, because that kind of played back into his sleep schedule thing. Because like you were saying, you know, some people like, you know, they drive better at night. Some people drive better during the day. And then like everybody's sleep patterns are different. You know, some people, like if they go to bed early and they wake up early, they're going to feel like shit. But if they go to bed at 2 a.m. and they wake up at 5 a.m., that's just how their body works. But it is safer, you know, to give the driver the, option of like, okay, I'm driving. I have X amount of time left on my clock. Let me pull over, stop my clock, and then I can keep driving instead of them being like, well, shit, if I stop now that I'm burning my clock, I'm going to be a day late. So then they're pushing themselves, you know, beyond their, natural limits, which, as we all know, like, you can only hold your eyes open for so long. Like I know all of us at one point in time have had the good old fuck on me. It's like when you fall asleep it's like when you fall asleep in class and you have that dream that you're free falling and then you're slapping the desk, freaking out. Like, yeah, we don't need that. But
back in my younger days when I used to run like that, and we were, I would sit there and say, probably about 15 years ago, somewhere in there where you could get away with that, where I, doing local stuff, I ain't gonna give out too much, but when you pull a double shift, because you needed the extra money and it was there and you could do it.
Calling your buddy, hey, what's your login for your ELD? Asking for a friend.
Didn't even need that. As long as you were then like I said, and this is where that comes in too, because if you do, because you don't have to run a logbook if you're running within 150 miles the crow flies in one direction. If you do it that way and you run back and forth, so you could run 150 miles out as the crow flies, as long as you don't go over it, you don't have to run a logbook. Well, a lot of stuff that we did local, I mean, you didn't go over 100 miles, but you had a lot of sit time. A lot of times I did asphalt. So I would work during the day running gravel to the plant. Then at night, I'd sit there and go, well, I can catch a nap. We got 50 trucks out here. Take 3 hours before you can get unloaded. Hey, you can sit there and sleep. But when you do that back to back, it kind of catches up to you. And I've sat there and done that going out there on Alligator Alley and coming across there and not realize it. And then all of a sudden you hit a bump and you're like, oh.
How long have I been driving for?
I'm still driving. Are you sure?
Well, that's what tripped me out, man. Like back when I first started brokering out drayage freight, like you're saying, like there's no limitations on how long you can drive. So I'd have this one guy, because I'd have containers coming from the port, but also had customers that needed containers, shuttled all over the the Inland Empire. And there's this one guy, I call himself Curtis the Rabbit. I shit you not, he'd run for 36 hours straight, sleep for 5 hours, and call me back and be like, "Hey, when's the next round?" And I'm like, "Brother, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Trying to make money." But
like when we used to haul salt, all right, there's a buddy of mine that's got the contract now down there in Florida. He's got one in Jacksonville, but they do a lot there at the port and where the Disney cruise lines and all that are, and that's Port Canaveral. And they have a ship that comes in from dredging salt from out at sea. They sit there and take the salt water and turn it into salt. You can work on that job, and what really sucks, it's a 5-mile trip, and you're running out of the port. You can run. You don't stop. Once you get there and you start that job, you don't stop until that ship is fully empty. That could take up to 48 to 72 hours. You're sitting there driving, you and about 6 other trucks, because they don't want that many trucks because they don't want the traffic lanes blocked. But you're sitting there nonstop. I mean, you're going, you dump, you come back, grab another load, come back, dump. I mean, it's just straight turnaround, and you're getting offloaded by a crane. So, one and a half buckets of a crane, you got a full semi loaded instantly. Boom, you're done. And then the next one, it don't take much. And you're right. You can work up the hours, but you can also get that moment like, is today Friday or is it Monday? It's time. Yeah.
yeah,
It's rough. I mean, but like I said, the difference in between running local and over the road, you can get away with more stuff local, but over the road, now the money has come up. When I started driving over the road, it was 23 cents a mile. That's what driver pay was. Yeah, that was cheap. Back then, that was decent money. I was like, hell yeah, I'm making good money. Yeah, I get to bump up to 27 cents. Shoot, yeah. Yeah. But then when I got into going back local running, hell, I was getting more than that running side. I mean, what I made $1,000 over the road, I was making $1,500, $1,800 a week running local. I mean,
yep.
it was a no brainer to go back and I can sleep in my own bed. I didn't have to worry about the truck shutting off and then restarting up again, shaking the cab.
So, do you think you run yourself more ragged running local or over the road? Because I mean, I know there's got to be a lot of stress driving local because there's just way more obstacles than just shooting right down the interstate.
Well, when you're running local, pretty much the places, so you know how to get around different areas. But yeah, you can run yourself ragged because you're running more hours, and then you're trying to, then the old black dog theory comes in because you're chasing the money now. You're trying to see what. All right, I did this week. What can I do? Can I pick up an extra shift at night, or this is what I'm doing during the day? I mean, we used to when you're running local, you're also getting paid by the load or by the ton, depending on what you did. I used to haul lime rock, and lime rock it used to be paid by the ton. So, as many more loads you can get on the ground, the better off you were that week. And I used to run when we were doing the Orlando International Airport. That was in 2000, 2001, right before 9/11 happened, because that sucked, because when that happened, we were stuck in the airport and we were having to dump. We got bum rushed by armed guards and couldn't get out of there almost 2 hours. I mean, they had us standing out of trucks, armed guard, military sitting there. Oh yeah, that was a freaky moment. Yeah.
Imagine.
I don't want to experience again, but hauling the lime rock, we were hauling lime rock in there. I used to do 5 loads a day. Everybody else was getting 4, only because I got slick. I'd go back and grab me another load before the end of the night, before the plant would close. I would go home. I lived less than 2 miles from the airport. So it was smart for me to take the truck home, park it in the yard, and then get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, instead of like the rest of the guys that got up at 2:30 and 3 and sat at the limelight mine when it opened up at 4 to get loaded. I was already dumping my first load at 5:30, and then by the time I got back there, the first round of traffic's going out. I'm already grabbing my load. So I mean, there was different ways of thinking about it, making it easier, but um, there was a lot more risk because you took more of a risk because you were getting paid by the load or by the tonnage. Um, back then we were getting close to 150 a load. So you pull in 6 loads, that's a pretty decent amount of money a day. Then you
Yeah.
take out
Yeah.
your fuel. Back then, fuel wasn't too bad. I mean, it was $75 a day for fuel. So you do the math, you still come out with a decent paycheck.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I guess we'll kind of shift gears here and get to the show. So when I guess did you were you still driving when you decided to do Left Lane with Lefty, or how did that transition go? And what really kind of motivated you to get into it?
well, like I said, yeah, I was still driving at the time when I started it 5 years ago. Um, this will be April will be 6 years this year, which actually I'm like, wow, I'm
It's
still
crazy.
amazed it's gone this long. Um, no, I was working with someone else at the time, doing another type of podcast. They were doing a morning show, and we were talking about doing something. He was doing the trucking thing, like the news and everything in the morning, like weather, what was going on, what the road specs were. And then I decided we were deciding on doing something else, and I said, "Well, I have the wrecker experience driving tow trucks and have that connection too. Like you could pretty much say I'm a jack of all trades, a master only of a couple. So I've pretty much done everything under the sun that you can think of, from carpenter work to trucking, heavy equipment, towing. Um, yeah, pretty much done it all because I wanted the experience of knowing what I could and couldn't do, because that was my biggest motivation, was someone telling me you can't do that, you're not able to. That was my thing. I really, let me prove you wrong. Let me show you how this works, because I'm that type of person. I'll show you how that works. But and that's what happened with Left Lane with Lefty, and that's how it ended up getting started. Was I was working with someone else, and we were going to do on the towing side, and I had connections to be able to bring people on. Well, uh, in between that, there was some uh, things that was going on with the other person. Um, I really couldn't get into what their situation was, but it wasn't turning out to be good, and it ended up going in a different direction. I ended up having to get away from it, and I said, "You know what? Let me start my own." I said, "Just for the hell of it, just to prove to everybody that we can do it, just as a laugh." And I ended up creating Left Lane with Lefty, and the only reason why uh, everybody knows, because I'm an amputee, so I got the left arm. That's how we ended up with Left Lane with Lefty, because I'm filming from the right lane. You're in the left lane. You're in the hammer lane. And the reason why I got the name Lefty was I was working for a towing company, and we had 5 guys that worked there that their name was Charles. So instead of putting Charles number 6, because that's what they did, they started going Charles 1, 2, 3, and 4. I said, "Well, I know how to tell myself apart. Just put Lefty on there. That way you can't mistake me. So that way I couldn't be accused of doing something I didn't do, unless they specifically say, yeah, that guy Lefty did it, you know, then you knew who did it." And that's how I ended up getting the name Lefty. And that started, God, 15 years ago. That's how it ended up getting started. And it stuck with me ever since. And that's how Lefty come a part of it. But then I started doing this. I started that on April 1st, and it was just something that I could prove. Oh yeah, well here, let me tell you a little, almost kind of like a kick in the face, like I can do it, just as a joke. But it actually took off. It actually started out real big. I had 10 or 12 guys that I knew personally that sat there and said, "Hey, man, you do this, we'll back you. We got your back." I said, "Are you sure we're going to do this?" Yeah. And ever since we took off, uh, and half the drivers that I met through that, through Left Lane with Lefty, is what I have now and dealt with, and also from the other podcast that I was on. Um, yeah, it actually worked out pretty well on a lot of things that we ended up doing. I mean, it Left Lane with Lefty's actually got a name for itself. I ended up being able to do some merch. Um, Now, I think because of Left Lane with Lefty and everybody knows what it's about and being true, raw, and authentic, because that's the key thing. You got to be true to yourself and you got to be true to your people that you're broadcasting to, because they can tell you real quick, a trucker can see through BS all day long and tell you if you're good or you're fake, and don't want no part of you. And like I said, it took 5 years to get through all that. Um, that's how I ended up meeting Van, Mr. Bullsnot. Uh, we become best of friends over the last couple of years. That's how I met with Tony, and something else that we're doing. I've been doing some little bit of work, video work in that here with Tony Justice for a little bit. We may have some more in the works. Ain't letting all the cats out of the bag, but that's what we're looking at right now. But yeah,
Well, firstly, I question your friend group as a child because if it took up until only 15 years ago for you to get the nickname Lefty, bro, if we were friends growing up, you would have got that shit like first time I saw you without an arm. Like that just immediately would have been your name. That would have been the end of it. So, secondly, I don't think that you knowing Van is something you should be telling people. I'm just saying. Just saying. I mean, you do what you want to do, but I don't tell people that I know him.
but you gotta let them know that you are the sane one out of that relationship.
That's true, and I'm fine with it. I expect that.
Why you gotta say that way he
I
can go, I do know normal people.
I expect that. Like if someone says, "Do you know Pedro?" I expected only something vulgar to come out of their mouth after that, followed by no. Yeah, hey man, I got a reputation, to keep, man. Just like I told old Susan earlier, man. Keep expectations low, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah. All right, man. So staying on the media thing. So you talked about how you got in the podcast, and you kind of touched on the video stuff there in a while, and you're similar in that way that Hunter and I, we did this whole podcast first, and the media stuff afterwards, and it wasn't until we like got invited to go to Matt's that we started doing that stuff. But what got you interested into it? Was it kind of like how it was for Hunter and I? It was just an evolution of what you were doing, or was it something you had already had an interest in and dabbled in? And with that, what have some of your struggles been with it, bro? To everyone else out there that does like the media stuff, what has been some of your struggles with the podcasting thing and the photo video part of it as well?
Well, my thing was, uh, with the podcast, it was something to hang out with drivers to where I can keep in touch. Part of it was to talk about some of the news and everything that was going on with trucking. We had different things that going on. At the time, I had 10 or 12 people. I had quite a few of them that did heavy haul, a couple of door swingers, one or two skateboarders, well, which we know as flatbeds, RGNs, and regular dry vans. We were all working together, and it was just something that we all come together because of another group, and we decided to bring it along. And so I was running here local, and it kind of worked out for me to where I could do that on the weekend and hang out with friends that I don't get to see as much as I used to. So that was the reason why the podcast got started and kicking. And then I loved being able to do photos. I liked being able to see all the trucks and take pictures. And it was more of a what I liked, what I could put on there. And then I tried to turn it into a it's a touchy realm if you're going to try to make money off of doing videos and pictures. It really is, because if you ain't got the act for it or the right projection for it, some people like it, some people don't, and it also depends on who you're doing the videos of and what's going on with it. Like I said, very first interview that I had on the podcast was Hatermade, Mr. Jacob Bonham. He was my first interview, and it actually turned out really well. Um, there was the things that I've asked him a while back here lately, and I said, "There's a lot of things that changed from what you told me you seen yourself in 5 years," and we kind of laughed about it on a whole new deal, which that might be coming out later too. But yeah, um, doing that. Then I was doing the pictures and videos, but I ended up doing it more for my friends than I did for trying to make money out of it, because I was working at the time. I was driving, making decent money. So the podcast was more like a hobby. The videos and that was something that I could show. Hey, look at the artwork that I could do. But here's you the video for my friends, the ones I got to meet and meet new people. And that's how it ended up getting bigger and bigger. Um, but like I said, yet today I haven't, I don't ask for money for my videos. I don't ask um, people for, if I got a good video and do it and you want me to do a video shoot or something like that, then yeah, if you want to pay me, that's fine. But no, for the last 5 years, this has all been done on my own pocket, done on my own dime. And it was just something I had a passion for because I love trucks. Um, the last 2.5, going on 3 years now, um, I've been out of a truck on and off, but the last 2 years have really played it with me. Like I said, last year, just recently last year, I had to get my CDLs. Gave them up. I don't have them no more. Um, and then when I got diagnosed, and the reason why I don't have them is because I was diagnosed with cancer, and they seen the spots on my back when I went to do a physical, and they wouldn't give me the physical because of it. They said, you need to go get checked. We can't give you a physical because your health is not looking. Everything else looked good. It's just the physical part of it didn't look right because of what they seen from the growth of the cancer coming through the skin, which I couldn't see because it was on my back. I didn't know it was there at the time. Um, so we ended up um, going to get the doctors and finding out I couldn't get the DOT physical, but the CDLs were still good. Um, so I kept them as long as I could. And then when they finally expired, which was just a few months ago, and I had to give them up, that was a hard moment in my life to be able to give those up, because even though I haven't been in a truck steady in the last couple of years, or the last 2.5 years, um, I was still able to get in a truck, move, do a couple things local, just doing my thing with it. Uh, but yeah, it brought tears to my eyes when I actually had to give those up, because I fought like hell when I got them, because everybody said, no, you ain't going to be able to get them. You're an amputee. You're not going to be able to get them. There's no way. And I had every negative turned at me, to where I said I had to prove a point that I'm going to get my CDLs and I'm going to keep them. And there ain't nothing you can do to, to keep me from doing it. And you talk about 2.5 years, man. Yeah, I fought hard to get my CDLs, and then when I got them, I fought like hell to keep them, and did everything by the book that I could to keep them, and that. But then when the cancer come along, and it was just something that wasn't expected, it was in a DOT physical that caused it to where I couldn't get my physical, and it caused me to not being able to drive a truck. Um, some people sit there and tell me, "Hey, I'm glad I ain't driving a truck. I'm done with it." Some people have a passion for it. I mean, if you can sit there and drive for 20, 30 years and sit there and go, "I don't want to be looking at another truck. Don't want to get in another truck." You didn't have the passion for the job. You were in it for the money. And someone like me, I still get choked up now. I mean, even though I already know the circumstances, I know what I got to deal with, but I really would. If I could give up something, I really would go back and love to be back in a truck driving it. I'd rather be driving a truck. It's been my thing all my life. I grew up around it, learned it from a young age. I mean, it's almost like being part of my family. It's like losing a family member. It's hard to let loose. It really is. Um, so the podcast and that, and what I do now with the videos and that, going to these truck shows is to hang out with friends and being able to be around these trucks and still have the passion of being a trucker, but I get to do it through my friends. I get to ride in their truck. I get to film their trucks. I get to talk, and we get to sit there and deal with the stories, and get to talk about all the different things of where they've been. I'm like, yep, been there, done that. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to go back to that town. I mean, we talk about places that we used to be at and where we used to go, and it's just, it's just, it's really hard to give it up. It really is. I think Uh, I don't plan on giving it up. I'd rather be hanging out with you guys because I mean that's how I met you guys. Was you know last year because my heater was so hot. I mean y'all needed a ride. I'm just saying, but eh, I meet new people. I don't.
We just know now to fucking ride in the bed, bro. Even if it's
I don't,
-5, we're riding in
I
the
don't have
bed,
hey,
dude.
I can't help it when I got to sit there and deal with treatments. And that's the other thing with the cancer is that we were doing treatments and the treatments have changed uh, the way this immunotherapy works. It changes your molecular DNA in your body. Um, I never had used to be um, with the cold. Cold never bothered me. Now I could be in 70, 80-degree weather and it feels like a chill running through my bones. Um, I can sit there and put my hand in cold water and it feels like it's hot. I mean, it's just different things where the chemical therapy it does things to your body that you're not used to, and it changes it. So you got different things you have to look at. Not that I try to burn people out of my truck, but it's just saying. When you're cold, you're cold. Sorry, like I'm 80. My bad. Next time I'll make sure I take my Geritol with me though. All right, there, Mr. Potato.
No, it's cool, bro. I'm not gonna tell you what to do in your own truck. Again, I just know.
I'm picking on
I
you.
just,
Come
I just, I just, I just know to ride in the bed. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Are you sure about that? I don't know. I mean, it is a one-armed guy driving. I mean, hopefully I don't have to sneeze or nothing on the back road.
Yeah. I guess I just better jump at the right time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
make sure it's a bush, not a
tuck
tree.
and
Just saying.
tuck and roll, baby. Tuck and roll.
You hit the water. Just make sure you roll.
Yeah, all right.
But no, I mean, it's the reason why I do it is because I get to hang out with friends and I get to meet new people and I meet new people every year, and it's something that I enjoy and I like. Um, I don't know. It hits me different than it does most people. Most people, they're like, that's a truck, a truck. There's some of them that drive it and they're in it. But either way I go, I mean, I got good friends like Brandon Carpenter, the bar trailer. I've known Brandon, like I said, I met Brandon from the other podcast that I used to be on before I started mine. And when I did, Brandon's one of the ones that sat and said, "Hey, if you do, dude, I got your back." And it's been that way ever since. And God, we've known each other almost 7, 8 years now. Maybe a little longer than that. So yeah, I mean, you meet good people and you have good friends. And um, like I said, I met a dear friend, Van, Bull Snot. Um, he's full of snot, but yeah, you couldn't ask for a better friend for anything because if you needed something, he'd give it to you. He'd give you your shirt off his back. And same thing with Tony. Tony would do the same thing. And Tony's, him and his wife has dealt with cancer. And then when they found out that I ended up having the cancer, his wife really took it hard. I mean, with them knowing me, but didn't know, not knowing me as well as they do now, but they did know me and finding out that I had cancer and it was the one that was the big nasty one. Um, yeah, they took it, both of them took it pretty hard. And I appreciate everything they do. Now I get, hey, you want to come down to the house? We're doing a barbecue. Hey, you want to come out and hang out? Hey, we're going to this truck show. You want to ride? I mean, I couldn't ask for better people and better friends. You know, I really couldn't. And there's quite a few of them that I can sit there and say. There's Alex Mai. I can pick up the phone right now and call him, and he'd pick up the phone. Me and him will sit there and talk whatever it's going on, it don't have to be trucking. It could be whatever's going on in my mind or what's going on. I need someone to talk to. Um, Good people. Same thing with Tex. And Bobby McGee. Can't forget Bobby McGee now. Uh, like I told her, I said I'm gonna have to do that song like Jeremiah and the Bullfrog. I got a good friend named Bobby McGee. Yeah, yeah. I mean, good people. You just can't find good people like that anymore. And when you do find them, you want to hold on to them and keep them. And trucking, and I don't care what anybody says, they can say, well, trucking ain't a family no more. It's not family oriented. Go to a truck show and prove it to me that it ain't family. Prove it that it's not family because I can prove to you 100% that it is. And yeah, there's more friends and family there than there is out in regular trucking. I hate to say it. Um, a lot of these people get these little things in their head that sit there and talk about, oh, well, this ain't good for trucking or that ain't for good. And then you guys get in a cross war, or, well, we're going to be with the Teamsters and we're going to do this. We're going to do, you know, there's too much fighting and bickering over when someone wants to stand up and let's say, stand up for something that everybody wants to stand up for, but you got too many of them that want to be too many roosters, not enough hens, or better known as too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Um, and you have that out here. But when you get into the tow truck world, you don't have that. You don't have all these different chiefs. Everybody's all Indians. Just you got some that's got a little more money than the other, but everybody is all the same. Everybody treats you the same as the same person as if you were the bum that walked off the street. Troy Massey, the biggest man with the biggest heart, uh, will treat you just like you were one of his, like a brother. Um, Don Woods, uh, you got a few others that are just like that. you know, they all sit there and treat you with respect, take you in. And I mean, I don't get where people in the trucking industry here lately has been sitting there saying, "Oh, it's nothing but a joke. It's not worth it." You're hanging with the wrong people and getting the wrong information. You need to hang out with the logistics lounge. They give it to you.
I appreciate that. You're way too kind. I really couldn't say what you just said better. I mean, to kind of quickly touch on all the things you touched on there at the end. I feel with the CDL thing when I had to give mine up. I can't remember when it was, 22 or something like that. Same thing for medical stuff. Like, it was difficult. I mean, I didn't have the struggle you did, but like, I went through my own process to get my CDL and shit. You know what I mean? And it wasn't easy. So, and having it for all that time and having to give it up. So I feel your pain on that. It fucking sucks, dude. I love driving a truck. Still miss being in a truck to this day. The camaraderie thing, I say as an over the road driver, I didn't have it. As a local driver, totally had it, man. Me and all the guys I worked with, we worked out together. We hung out together, man. I still talk to many of them to this day. And, the stuff with the shows, I only experienced like 2 truck shows before this, and that was to take my kids to it just so they could see cool trucks, and one of them was GATS. But I agree with you with the truck shows. You really see the family side of stuff, the camaraderie side of things, that it still exists. You see the, I guess you could say, the folklore that surrounds trucking, or that I would say still surrounds it. I think we could all agree that there's still that folklore that's around of trucking, these, big burly guys, and, this crazy hard job they do, and, trucks, whatever. But, so that stuff's still alive there, and I agree it's a good place to see it. And being a part of it, getting to know the people that attend it. You named a lot of great names. I really, could add a lot to it, as we both could. So, or we all could.
There's
so,
other names into it.
Yeah, 1,000%. But I've enjoyed it very much. I know Hunter has, and like, honestly, I feel personally, blah 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 blah. Personally, I feel we have Indie Trucker, aka Chris Thomas, to thank for that. He is the one that really pushed Hunter and I to go to fucking Matt's 2024. And that kind of started it all. So since then, like, we've built a great group of friends, and it's a lot of fun. It's you also get to learn a lot of things, and just, I don't know, can't say enough great things about it. So I'm with you, man. Go to fucking truck shows. 100%. Look up truck shows and near me, and find one close to you, and go. Questions here. Left is the man, and makes a great Uber driver when you leave the Hound and Pedro with the show.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Thank you.
Yeah. We all just use you for your gas, bro. That's what it,
Hey, that's about. Give now, receive later. I'm just saying.
That's what it is, bro. We all just use Lefty for his gasoline in the truck. That's what it is, man.
My theory is, if I can help you out and it puts you in a safer place, then I'm all for it. I mean, that's just my nature. I've always been helpful, and if I can do it, I'll do it. If I can't, then I'll figure out another way of doing it. But at least you'll get the help. Yeah.
Well, Lefty, we appreciate you sharing your time with us, man, and your story. Dude, I mean, I've only known you less than a year. When did I meet you? I think Large Cars and Guitars.
Large Cars and Guitars.
I think it was officially, yeah. I think Large Cars and Guitars. So, less than a year, man. So, I didn't, know a lot of the stuff that a lot of the things about you that you shared tonight. So, appreciate that, broski, so very much. We're not pushing you off. We're just do 2026. We're trying to be more finite with the shows, man. You know what I mean? Like, keep them shorter and stuff like that. If A, keep the audience engaged, but B, so we're not taking up everybody's time, right? Because people got better shit to do than listen to us three yahoos ramble. With that, what you got to close it out for yourself, Lefty? Any final or any exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs for yourself personally, for your podcast, your media stuff, all that.
Yeah. I'll give you a little thing, a little acknowledgement here, real quick. Drivers, if you see another driver in trouble, don't sit there and grab the phone and start nitpicking. Get out of the truck and help him. Or the least you could do is get out of the truck and say, "Hey, you need some help? I don't mind helping you, whatever you need. If it's backing in, getting something fixed, or lights, strap, something, you know." Best way to meet a new friend is get out and help. Just it's the best way to meet another driver instead of pissing him off. Just saying. And that's just one of my advices, that if you see someone struggling, just stop and give them a hand. If they don't want it, hey, can't say you didn't try, but at least you gave it the effort. Shows, there's going to be a couple this year that I'm going to go to. Well, I'm going to be at Large Cars and Guitars. That's a guarantee. I will not be going to 75 Chrome Shop. Won't be able to make it because I'll probably be doing treatments at the time. Depends on how things are going, because I got to get back started into that, because things are coming back. So, but I didn't want to get into all that because it's neither here and there right now. It's something that I can tell on my own little deal. But yeah, you can find me at Left Lane with Lefty on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Rumble. I do have a Discord I just started, but I'm not liking it that well. So it may be on there, it may not be. It's just something I'm not too thrilled with. But I have slowed down on my podcast a little bit because I am trying to find a new platform to do it off of. The one I was using, it just got out of my budget. I just couldn't afford it no more. So I'm looking for another station to get into, another platform, and keep my platform going. So usually when I do my shows, it's on Saturday, usually between 8 and 10. Sometimes we go to midnight, depending on how many people pop in. I mean, I've had to end up to 25,000 at one time, and couldn't get off of there until 1 in the morning. It's like, I want to get off. And they're like, no, stay. And it's usually the Australians, because that's during their daytime and it's our nighttime. But there'll be a couple of truck shows that'll be probably more local. I might try to hit a couple others out of state if I am able to. Guys, just work with me on that. But that's my game plan, is to try to make it to a couple of them this year, and then work on other things that I got going on. But I greatly do appreciate you guys being my friend. I really do. You guys have been hilarious at the truck shows, and you always come up to me. "What's up, Lefty? How you doing? Doing great? Feeling all right? Need anything? Need a hand? I go beat up Van." No, I'm no, we got to beat up the other hunter from Truck Parking Club, because he's got my hand in his van. So if y'all see this, hunt him down. He's in a yellow van. It says Truck Parking Club. Look in the back window. I guarantee you'll see it
Dude,
hanging.
and Matt, we so got to make that a mission, Hunter, is to fucking steal back Lefty's left arm.
Got to get it back. Got to get it back. But my key thing is, treat a driver like a brother, and you'll have a friend for life. And that's the way it should be. Because you never meet a stranger, you always meet a new friend.
Well said.
Hell yeah, bro.
Heck
I
yeah.
like it. You're a good guy, Lefty. You're a good
Mhm.
guy. I'm glad I met you, bro. I'm glad I did not avoid you like I do most human beings. Say that.
Well, it's kind of hard to, I mean, one of them guys swinging off the back of a bar trailer. I mean, It's the only circus that we had at the show. So I'm just saying.
I know. I didn't know whether to call disability services or like give you a tip because this was some weird freak show I was watching. I didn't, you're part of a side. I didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
It worked out. It worked out.
it did totally.
And being a disabled, giving you a ride home, no big deal.
That's true. See, I'm gonna fucking stop right now. I'm just gonna stop. I am so gonna stop before I get into trouble because Lefty, my sense of humor, dude. Like,
I know.
I'm gonna stop before I get
Well, I
into
say I
trouble
got a hands down. All right.
with the I don't know what group it would be, but the people with disabilities group before they get on our butt.
Hey,
Mr.
you just got to remember, you get a bunch of us with left arms in a swimming contest. Don't worry about it. We're like NASCAR, but backwards.
Yeah.
We don't make left turns. We make rights. My Indian name is him who swims in circles.
Fucking Lefty.
I'm telling you.
I don't know what to do with you.
Hey, better than being right.
Anyhow, Hunter.
I will let you guys go.
No, you stay. I mean, we're ending the show, but you don't have to jump off like that. Like, don't be like that. Don't be like, you hurt my feelings. I'm going to the fucking crying corner.
Hold on.
Hunter, what you got?
Yeah, Lefty, it's great to know you, brother. Can't believe we've almost been friends now for a year, but you've been on the show so many times. It's great to finally have you on with just you, and I'm surprised it took us this long, but we're not the brightest guys, so we kind of overlook things like this. People come on the show so many times, we're like, there's no way we haven't had you on yet. But yeah, man, it's been a great honor. Can't wait to see you, man. And I guess now you are an official lounge lizard. So even though you've had an open door the entire time, you're now in that group. So heck yeah.
Well, I feel privileged being on here because you guys have come a long ways in what you guys do. You may not realize it. I mean, you probably do, but you may not realize it. But you have a big backing and a big fan base. You really do. And I'm just glad to be a part of the show because I remember when y'all started, back when you had Van Brown come on and then you had the Redneck Trucker. And I felt bad for y'all. I really did. I mean, how'd you let that lot lizard get on here? But I mean, I'm just saying.
He paid us, bro.
They had us duped. Yeah.
Yeah, he paid us. Van, we could never deny him to coming on the show, bro. Like no. you just could. Hunter, I mean, not just because he's our friend, but my wife would beat the literal bull snot out of me. Like that's Van's her freaking buddy in her mind. So yeah, I could if I was mean to him, my wife would beat the crap out of me. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She'd be like, "Hey, Van, you come up with a product because I got to take care of a problem."
Miss Hunter, anything else?
No, brother.
Cool. We're gonna do some sponsor love here before we get going, and then we'll talk about what we got going on the rest of the week. So, paying some bills here with Shoreline Capital.
With Shoreline Capital, you don't just get their 50 years experience in finance and banking, you get freedom. Shoreline lets you choose the invoices you factor so you're in control of your cash flow. Get advances up to 97% of the invoice for immediate expenses, and no early termination fees so you can move on whenever the time is right. Being a business owner is about freedom, and Shoreline Capital understands access to your revenue when and how you need it is a vital part of that. Start your path to more control over your money with ShorelineCapital.com or call them at 801-605-8822. Make sure you use code SURETHING365 to get your first invoice up to $2,000 for free.
And comes to Chuck Parkin, we only recommend one company.
Freight Ninja sites aren't just to park one truck and trailer. They can be the main base to park your fleet, a drop yard near one of your shippers or receivers, and a whole host of other things. Find out more of what they offer and how Freight Ninja can help you by visiting freightninja.com. or give them a ring at 844-303-1505. Make sure you use code Lounge Ninja to get special pricing.
And Friday, Mr. Hunter will not be here. He's going to do something, going to a party of some sort, a Mardi Gras.
Going to
thing.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Going to
That's
play with the real lizards.
That's true. Right?
Whoa.
That's funny. That's fucking funny. He's gonna. Yeah. We're gonna shut up. All right, I'm gonna stop. All right, Friday. Mr. How will not be here, but Mr. Steve Talamo, Dirty Dre himself, will be co-hosting with me, coming over from the Dreads Junkies. So we're gonna have a good time with Mr. Gary Johnson from Hustler Heavy Haul. Sorry. Gary just bought a brand new truck, and we're going to talk about that and catch up on all the happenings that have been going on in the heavy haul industry with Gary this Friday, 4 Central, 5 Eastern. So tune in for that. And I think that's all I got. All right. Go.
The views and opinions expressed on this show by its guests are not necessarily those of Lounge Media Group or the show host. So if you sue someone, make sure it's the party responsible for hurting your feelings. Also, grow up, be an adult, and understand not everyone thinks like you. And that's okay.